Alright, alright. You all got your bathroom breaks out the way, your lunch breaks, because I'm gonna try to shoot for straight for 30 minutes this time and knock this out. Even though this is still gonna probably have 3 parts. Alright, so we left off, well, I left off, you're probably watching this in, direct order, because I have to stop and take maybe like a 2-hour break and upload these, and I have to move. I forgot to move the file to the SD card, so I had to wait for recording because I don't want anything to go wrong. But anyway, we left off talking about characters. We're going to talk about characters some more and see if they make the watchability or the it factor of the qualities. And then we're going to move on to more minute things like, is it by author? Is it by art style? Is it by maybe comedy? Genre? Minor things like that. So, big 3 characters. And since we can't talk directly, let's start off with Bleach. Kind of like the odd one out nowadays, anyway. So, Bleach has lots and 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 lots of characters. Tite Kubo himself said he really enjoys drawing characters. He really enjoys making up new characters, and I can understand that, but he kind of throws characters at you, kind of like, spitballs to a wall and hope they stick, and a lot of them don't. So we get a lot of more quirked characters than developed characters, and let's be honest, Bleach characters, I don't even think they have development. I don't even think development's a thing for them, unless I'm just kind of like firing on half cylinders. But so we have Ichigo, who really is the absolute ipso facto standard for a shonen flip-flop lead. I get he's a teenager and everything, but sometimes I don't even think things go through his head. So again, another crappy protagonist. just like the last 2. Orihime, fuck her. There's no need to cover Orihime at all. We all know it's this, and we all know it's, these up here. No need to talk about her at all. There's Rukia, who is just Rukia, honestly. There's nothing really special about her either. There's the smart guy Uryu. There's Chad. Now I'm going through this cast. Why did this series get so popular? Because was it the action? I want to think it's cast because these characters really have almost nothing to them at all. This is just bare bones. Characters nowadays seem to get a lot of development, but they don't get any depth. And I'm probably going to do another video on this, but just a quick thing. Why is it always characters have to develop? Why can't they just have a depth? Because, I know a character was what are you talking about? It's kind of mess with me right now. But, characters go through development in order to get deeper. So why don't we start with them, their base thing, and progressively learn more about them and go into the subconscious. I was I'm not 100% sure if I could count Berserk, where he starts off with this almost complete this complete character, and it shows you the steps of him. I think that can be applied to Berserk and both the Monogatari series, where the characters just get progressively more interesting and don't necessarily change. But back on topic. The Bleach cast is just really troporific, it's not even entertaining to talk about them. So, let's move on to Naruto. Go freeze on the video. But, Naruto characters are actually, they got that development to them. Been kind of lost in translation in Shippuden, but that's more personal opinion. I'd say. But Naruto. Okay, first off, sorry about that. First off, we got the main character Naruto, the another XP of Goku. Always looked down upon, and Naruto really is a great underdog story, or at least it started out as a character development. But since this is going to be about a show's it factor, you can tell early on how if the show has it or not, because you can't exactly gain it. But Naruto, there's Naruto, there's Sasuke, the big brother, who murdered family. You guys know the story. Sakura Haruno, who, Kishimoto could have made Sakura a more interesting character, but she came off as, like, in the first one, she came off as useless also. And I thought that was actually sort of a good thing, because he could have made it a real big thing where Sakura goes from someone who can't really do anything, but uses her I don't want to say uselessness, because that sounds really, like, really stupid, but her uselessness, her flaws, to actually propel her ahead in life. That could have been a good thing, but as we all know, it's Sakura Haruno. Oh my god. And we get the Kakashi, the troll of a teacher, basically, and who's also falls into the badass category of characters. And badass is more of, it's not really of what they do, because people can get it, like, you throw one cool looking Rasengan and everyone says, "Oh, you're so badass." No, badass is a character type. It's a character type. So, and One Piece has, main character, XP of Goku, again. Thinking about One Piece, their characters are given a significant amount of, I'd say a relatively decent amount of backstory for each. It falls into this very formulaic thing of go here, meet new character, have minor adventure, learn about character's backstory. You know the story, and it almost seems too formulaic at times, but that's a different story. So, how do I put this? One Piece characters have some amount of depth to them. However, I got it. They have some amount of depth to them, but they don't ever seem to develop past what they're given in their backstories. Because I think what Oda's trying to do is, like, he's trying to give you what we were talking about earlier with Berserk, the kind of the complete package of the characters, and then go in. It fits the grand overarching theme of One Piece very, very well. But naturally the downside of this is that they don't really seem to change over the long haul. It's like there's literally almost no character interactions between the Straw Hats other than comedy. It's like they're traveling on the ship, ooh that, ooh that, ooh that, ooh that. And it's like, Luffy's an idiot, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. So it really doesn't move. The characters really don't move past what they develop in their essentially respective arcs. I'd say One Piece has probably the most unique cast of characters. Some people may be thinking that's pushing it. Some people may be saying Fairy Tail has the most unique cast, or insert shonen here. But there's a difference. I honestly think there's a difference between character quirks and actually being interesting, because the quirks is just something they do constantly over and 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 over again. But quirks to development, One Piece doesn't do much better than Fairy Tail. So now that we've got all the shonen characters out, let's look at them in the broad perspective. As you can see, they all fall into, they almost all fall into respective tropes. The power hungry Blackbeard, who's like the token minority of the series, but there's all the tropes, the I'll never give in to you, and so I was thinking, is it these tropes that make the characters popular and interesting or not? And I say not, because again, tropes are not all bad, but it makes it hard. It makes it hard to actually have them be interesting, because with tropish characters, you're very limited what you can. Stories are told by characters. You don't have a story where you just don't have characters. If you could find a story where you don't have characters, that'd be a short story, or that's a poem. That's just a straight poem, and even but no characters, no story. And so if your characters fall into this, trap of, oh, I'll never give up, will always work for my friends, victory, the mantras of Shonen Jump, unless you avert those, or you subvert those, or you lampshade those tropes, your characters have a very minute chance of moving up the interesting ladder. And if characters are what make the series exceedingly watchable, then that's just not a good thing. And now I'm gonna interrupt these things. I'm gonna think. Not bad. I've noticed that all these series, almost without exception, have lots of mook characters. Well, if you don't know what Mook is basically a usually nameless character who adds almost nothing to the story. It really does. They really don't. They're just kind of there, and like One Piece is specifically, because if you watch Red One Piece, you know how annoying the background characters are. They all yell out things at the exact same moment. They have this fucking hive mind, but yeah, I've noticed, for almost without exception, there are lots of Mook characters, and Mook characters can almost be almost completely disposable. Like in volume, I would like to say it's 2 of Toriko, and some of the more recent chapters. Volume 2, we had all their gourmet hunters, and Toriko was making them out to be, he's like a poke here, a jab there. We're seeing what each other can do, and it's like, that didn't go anywhere. Yeah, the early chapters of Toriko were just like, well, also in Toriko's big ice island arc, they didn't really go much of anywhere. And even these new cooks, even this tournament games, these new cooks, Shimabukuro just skipped over the entire cooking tournament thing, because no one wants to see those characters. No one does. And I'm kind of glad he did, because you didn't want to read 4 or 5 chapters, over a month of just Komatsu doing anything, just doing nothing. But there's more characters in this, and like more characters don't have to be faceless. They can actually be, as Fairy Tail has shown us, they can actually be former plot-related characters. But because like I almost consider the entirety of the how do I put this? The entirety of Fairy Tail minus a few characters. You know, the main group, the leader, Mavis. No, even Mavis at some point is kind of a Mook character, and it's like they're just kind of there and they're interacting with the main cast, but they're not really doing much of anything else. Like, especially when they have relationships with this. You all know the Lisana bullshit. You all know the you all know the Evergreen thing and the Thunder Tribe and how they're just basically in the background nowadays, just standing around. And so is it the are these Mook characters that the main characters can easily just like mop up what help shonen manga? Because I would say that does have some effect. That has some effect on because Toriko does not have a whole lot of Mook characters. They're kind of just there, then they just kind of die off or just disappear into the vast icy hell. But I think, but one could. All right, moving on, and I think we talked enough about shonen characters. Let's move on to some seinen characters, and not to describe which series has it, which is not. So. This is actually not a manga, it's not a manhwa, but it makes a fuck all difference, you all know that. What this is Jack the Reaper Hellblade. And a series that will be more known in the future, Drifters. Now this, I would say without a doubt, has it. This does not. Now, story is almost irrelevant in both of these. I can tell from hearing those Hellsing that Ruler Cool just basically just runs that bitch. But story, like, while the story can have some deep moments, the story isn't really much. So they do have some interesting characters, and in a manga like this that's specifically designed to have loads and loads and loads of characters. The characters don't really... Yeah, I would say the characters don't develop, like, almost at all, because, like, if you know Ruler Cool, you don't have to do shit to develop. I don't even think, like, from this volume I read, which is probably not a very fair, accurate representation of the entire series, but of that, they don't seem to, be anything special. I'll put it like that. They do a lot of badassery, which also goes along with the Ruler Cool, but mostly it's just them taking out mooks, just like, taking out mooks, taking out going into the big bad, giant looking war scenes. Like this is really all this manga is. It's awesome. I've read this like. When I first got this, I read this all the way through. Then, like, a day later, I read it again, and while I was waiting for the video upload, I started reading it more and more again. And it's seemingly readable. I know what's going to happen. I know it's not going to have some super overdramatic plot, but moving on to Jack the Ripper. This manga it started out nice. Well, story-wise, it started out pretty nice. But then it started out with this whole thing with this guy, he's a detective trying to find Jack the Ripper. Wife goes fucking insane. And He finds out his wife is some kind of giant demon monster, and I thought that Jack, the main character, and this guy were gonna have some interesting relationships, but no, it just kind of devolved into him getting mind fucked, and Jack the Ripper just being this demon slayer. And I have volume 2 up there, and from what I can tell, it doesn't really go past that. Jack is certainly a badass character. Sherlock Holmes provide the quality. I say quality, I mean comedy. And there's a modicum of it, but it doesn't have an It series. I have not had the desire to go back and read that. And that's about it. I mean, that's about it. It's like, there's not much to say about the series other than it's just like titties, blood, and gunshots. And for a manga set in Jack the Ripper's time. And, oh, by the way, it's literally on the back it says, for fans of Hellsing and Berserk. Now, Hellsing I could say, but Berserk, man, don't even compare the story, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. So yeah, I think we can safely say that characters do not 100% provide the it factor. No, that's it. There's always a possibility that it's a combination between things that give its it factor. But I can't safely say that characters are it, because, or maybe this is just my personal opinion, because you can't exactly separate your opinion from the world, from actual, like, what may be fact or not. It just doesn't really work that way in most cases. And yes, it's very hot in here. I fucking hate this light, but, and so yeah, it not factor. No, let's think of something else. How about the story? Again, moving back to Toriko and Fairy Tail, it's very formulaic. Fairy Tail is exceedingly formulaic. Like, I don't think it's original in the slightest, except for its character quirks. But you can clearly see that everything in Fairy Tail has been done somewhere else. Better to some extent, maybe not. That's all on you. But it's been somewhere else. You know, the Happy Guild thing, they had the rescue arc, and literally the first couple chapters, the big bad guild war between them, the Phantom arc whole thing, all the world plot. You've seen these before. It doesn't really go past its borders. Now, Toriko. Also, I'll also say it's very formulaic. Yeah, it has a slightly more original concept, but it sticks to what it knows. Whether it does it that well or not is kind of a mute point. But now Soul Eater, and it offers I've always said Soul Eater offers some very interesting ideas and viewpoints on the concept of madness and insanity. And if you stick even the anime, the second half of the anime, though poorly done. If you watch, I can't remember the name, but it's when Stein leaves the city. Very, very, very well done mental breakdown of Stein. But that's not all it has. Also, would I say it's formulaic? Or generic as a better term? I would not really say it's 100% generic. Or maybe even 50% generic. So, I kind of want to... I'm sure most of you have done this, know the story of these. Now, Hunter x Hunter starts off with Gon looking for his father. Oh, an interesting point about Hunter x Hunter. Gon well, major spoiler alert, so skip ahead to like another minute in the future. Gon actually completes his goal, and now we have to see where he's going to go from there, which is bugging the crap out of me because I don't know where he's going to go from there. And it's just when a character does not have a goal, it just makes it interesting because all these characters have a goal: find God, make it / stop insanity. Whatever we're doing at the fucking time. And nothing yet. No, rather, be badass. But aside from the story, and as I've already said, the story in these kind of a mute point. It's not just more action than really anything else. And Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter gains points for being a shonen and not being a shonen. It pushes the limits of what you'd usually see in shonen, and that's something that series need to do more of. These two series aren't really bound by many tropes. I don't think anyone would accuse them of being the generic shonen of the day. Nor would they accuse this. Or maybe some people would, I don't know. But stories that go above and beyond their tropes or or even sometimes lampshade their tropes. Like, if you don't know what lampshading is when you take a trope like plot armor in Medaka box with like, you know anything about Omnimiji Shinin, who literally is almost like self-aware. She literally goes, I'm not going to fight Medaka because she is the main character, and therefore she has plot armor. That's literally her reasoning. And it's damn good reasoning. Plot armor is not something to fuck with. I don't think I've ever seen a character break plot armor yet. Or, well, a villain, rather. Because plot armor is probably made of adamantium. I'll stop with the references, but yeah, Hunter x Hunter. Now, I think it's considered by most to be a dark shonen. There's gore galore. Yeah, gore galore. Togashi has a fetish for regular killing off main characters who are actually important. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. It's like, the most awesome, that most awesome character that you really liked, or even some random character that came back and making an awesome appearance. Yeah, they're dying. One's safe from death. And so like I said, it touches on things like madness and insanity, and also puts a couple more spins on the friendship, all the friendship tropes. And as you may or may not know, I would about the development of Krona in the manga, I would say Krona is probably one of the most developed insane characters. Even though right now he's acting like a very large ham, ham. If you don't know what a ham is, look it up. Ham's Ansem from Kingdom Hearts, the darkness. Yeah, those kind of over the top characters for no real reason. But he's a ham, and I don't mind that he's a ham because the build up to the hamminess makes perfect sense. And I think Soul Eater's home to one of my probably one of my favorite chapters in anime and manga. Chapter, I think it was 86. And it has the factor, but we still can't pick, because I can't say it's story because stories that take over, like with the big three, and they're big three, and they're very long stories. They don't you don't just fall in love with them, really. You really don't, as much as it may seem like it, because they may be the windows, the anime, but you grow, making it sound a little bit cheesy, but you almost grow with the characters. You're there from first sale all the way to their deathbed or their final triumph, and that's what really gives you the connection to the characters, and probably one of the reasons the fans flip the fuck out when they say your character is kind of lame. And since we're talking about the it factor, and remember, it factor is very noticeable early on in a series. Yeah, the it factor has to be identifiable. Identifiable? That's not the word. You know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say noticeable at the very beginning. So I've been going on for another 30 minutes. These videos are I'm gonna upload these videos in lower quality so I can't fuck, you know what I'm trying to say. I can upload them a little bit longer. But yeah, when we come back, we're going to talk about the last thing on the list, and that was by author fame, because some authors and more the minute things. I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna add all these up, and I want to say it's almost a culmination, but that's gonna be a little hard to defend. So, 32 minutes. Take your water breaks.